Hey, Mark Rugen here. If you're an Onyx 7, 10 user and you're thinking about upgrading to Onyx 12, well, let me give you an alternative that might be even better. I'm going to compare the Onyx RIP to the FlexiDesign and Production Manager RIP, and I think you're going to see some tremendously better workflow capabilities if you do this. So let me get started here. First of all, this is Onyx 10, but the same thing would apply to Onyx 7. If I go to, say, my HP printer up here, and I'm going to add some files to that, and I'm literally just going to select several files, right? I'm just going to select, maybe these three here, different formats and so forth. I click open, and it certainly loads those into my capabilities here, but then it starts to have to preview and rip and do all kinds of things to these files before I can use them. In the time that that takes to finish, if I had been using Production Manager, I could have added those same three files, this one, and this one. Just click add, and it would have added them right away, and I would be ready to work with those files. So that's one big difference right there. There's no pre-ripping that's done or anything. These are still working, by the way, in the background. I mean, it hasn't even done an image yet, so I'm still waiting on it. The other thing that's interesting is once these jobs finally are prepared, if I want to nest those, print them all in the same media, right? I'd select all three, but there's no like nesting routine that's immediately visible here. What I have to do to nest those is I have to go to the printer, and I have to tell the printer I want to go ahead and modify the way you handle these jobs. I want to group them together if they're the same media, and then print them like that, and then it'll actually nest them, I guess you would say, over here. But that's not even the best way to nest these things, is it? I mean, how do I move these around? How do I manage that nesting? Well, I'd have to go to a pre-flight capability, like on this guy right here. If I want to rotate it, I have to go to a pre-flight capability. If I want to work with my nesting a little bit, I got to go to a layout program. Those are all, extra steps. Let me just show you in Production Manager how much easier this is to do. I don't do it by printer. I do it by job. If I want to nest these three jobs right here, I just select them all and I click nest. And those things are nested. And then when I double click on the job name right here, I get a job properties menu. And this is a lot like pre-flight and layout together. I think you'll see the differences. I can move jobs around here. I can resize them. If I want to make copies, I can make copies. And you notice it's even flipping them and using the best way to present this media here. Isn't that kind of cool? I mean, that's easy to do. I can take a job and actually rotate just that job and not the others. I can manually move these around. So in other words, I have full capabilities here. There's a lot of alignment tools up here for aligning the jobs, getting them done the right way and the fastest way, right? I have workflow capabilities. I can control what happens during that job. And as far as profiling, all these printers, and by the way, we support all the up-to-date printers, the HP 310, the 360s, the Mutos, the Mimakis, the Rolands, all the latest printers are included with this RIP with all the profiles you're going to need, right? So that's all, never have to worry about that. And we even have an online site where you can download more. Anyway, you can control the actual printer settings themselves, like vacuum settings and so forth. You can even add markers to the graphics. You can separate them. If you want to print them as, separations for screen printing, you could do that if you wanted to. In fact, let me grab this graphic right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a finishing capability. Let's add grommet marks to it and put it on all three copies. Those are markers for your grommets, right? I can add a fold line. I can add a bleed. That is pretty cool. I mean, what we're saying here is that you have all the capabilities you need right in Production Manager. It's so easy and intuitive. You click OK, and then it even shows you a preview of what you're going to do before you print it. Then you drag it up here and rip it and print it if you want. That's how easy it is to use Production Manager. I think you see the differences there. Much speedier workflow. But that's not all. If you get this program, you're also going to get with it FlexiDesign, which is actually a design program. Very much like Corel, Illustrator, and so forth. You can work with vectors. You can work with text. Even has a spell checker, by the way, in case you can't spell. All right, you can work with text. You can work with bitmaps. In fact, look, you can even import multiple files at the same time. Let's just click. Remember those that file there? I'm gonna choose. I'll tell you what. Let's choose that one, and let's choose this one, and maybe this one right here. Okay, I'm gonna say import those files. So there's my first one. It tries to import the second file. It'll show you what it looks like. There it is right there. The third file, there's the size. I'm going to put it right there. You can import these multiple files at the same time. And It's the fastest way to work with contour cutting. I mean, if you want to add contour cut lines to something, look how quick that is. And you notice that if you did this in Illustrator, when those lines overlap, you'd have to start joining them, or you'd have to work with holes, getting rid of them. That's all part of the quickness that's involved in just the design side of this. And by the way, we have training online, DVDs and stuff to help you get fully started with this program. I want to open up a file real quick here also. I'm going to open up a file that I've built already around this graphic, and it's actually got a contour cut. It's a bitmap with a contour cut line on it. Because what I'd like to do is actually show you, and you can see the contour cut line right there. What I want to do is I want to show you the workflow here. If you have this graphic and you want to actually print and cut it, it's as easy as just clicking on your printer up here, right? And then all you do is you just tell it what printer you want to use. I'm going to use my HP. You tell it what print cutter you want to use. In this case, I'm going to use my GraphTech, and guess what happens? When you hit send, let me just make sure it's on hold. There you go. When you hit send, I hit send right there. Watch what happens here. I'm going to go back to my production manager, and look, the files are already there. This is actually my print file, right? I go over to my GraphTech. There's my contour cut. I didn't have to start another program. I can do it right from this place, and there's a little wizard that walks you through to make sure you get your alignments correct. Why don't you consider Flexi Production Manager and Flexi Design? It's the greatest alternative when you need to update or upgrade from an older program like the Onyx 7 or Onyx 10. Give it some consideration. This is Mark Rugen. Thanks for letting me show you all this stuff.